My daughter is 4 years old. She knows 3 things with complete certainty. Her favorite color is yellow. Grapes are better than apples. And I am her mother. At least, that's what I believed. Until gate 14. Tuesday morning. Chicago O'Hare. I turned around for 11 seconds to grab our bags from the belt. 11 seconds. When I looked up, she was gone. I found her 12 feet away, arms stretched wide open, running toward a woman I had never seen before in my life. And before I could move, before I could breathe, my daughter wrapped both arms around this stranger's legs and said, "Mama, I missed you." So, who exactly was I? My daughter is not a shy child. She has never been shy. From the moment she could walk, she has moved through the world like she owns it, arms wide, voice loud, completely unafraid of strangers. I used to think that was a gift. I don't anymore. Her name is Lily. She is 4 years old and 7 months. She has my eyes and her father's laugh and a birthmark behind her left ear shaped like a tiny crescent moon. She is the only person in the world I would burn everything down for. Which is why what happened at gate 14 didn't just confuse me. It cracked something open that I am still trying to close. We were flying back from my mother's house in Portland. 3 days. Just the 2 of us. A girls' trip Lily had talked about for weeks. She had been perfect on the flight. Colored in her book. Ate her crackers. Fell asleep on my shoulder somewhere over Nevada. I had looked down at her sleeping face somewhere over the Rockies and thought, this is everything. Chicago O'Hare was loud and crowded the way O'Hare always is. Gate 14. Tuesday morning. 9:47 a.m. We had a connection to catch. 40 minutes. I had Lily's hand in mine, and our carry-on on my shoulder, and my eyes on the baggage carousel for the bag I'd checked. 11 seconds. That is how long I looked away. I counted them later. Standing in the parking garage at midnight trying to reconstruct every moment of the morning. 11 seconds. When I looked up, she was already 12 feet away. Moving fast. The way 4-year-olds move when they've seen something that matters to them. Arms stretched wide. Running. Toward a woman crouching down with her arms open like she had been expecting exactly this. Hidden clue number 1. The woman was already crouching. Already opening her arms. Before Lily reached her. Like she had seen Lily first. I couldn't move for a moment. That is the honest truth. My body simply stopped processing instructions. I watched my daughter close the distance between herself and a complete stranger, and I stood there with somebody else's world crashing into mine, and I could not move. Then Lily's arms went around the woman's legs. And she said it, quietly, happily, like coming home. "Mama, I missed you." I moved then. Fast. The carry-on swinging off my shoulder. People stepping aside, without knowing why. "Lily." My voice came out wrong. Too tight. Too high. Lily turned around. She was smiling. The full smile. The one that takes over her whole face. "Mommy, look," she said. "It's my mama." The woman stood slowly. She was maybe 35. Dark hair pulled back. A gray coat. A small gold necklace with a charm I couldn't make out from where I was standing. She looked at me with an expression I still think about every night before I fall asleep. Not guilt. Not surprise. Something much more complicated than either of those things. Like she had been expecting me to. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. Her voice was steady. "I think there's been confusion. Who are you?" I asked. Lily was still holding on to her leg. Completely comfortable. Completely certain. The way children are certain about things they have always known. "My name is Dana," the woman said. She reached into her bag, pulled out a business card, and held it toward me. I didn't take it. "How does my daughter know you?" I asked. Dana looked down at Lily, then back at me, and she said something that I have replayed in my mind every single day since that Tuesday morning. "Mrs. Callahan," she said quietly, "I think we need to find somewhere private to talk." Hidden clue number 2. She knew my last name. I had never told her my name. I had never met this woman before in my life. She knew my name. This stranger at gate 14 who my 4-year-old daughter called Mama, she already knew exactly who I was. I picked Lily up, held her against my chest with both arms. She rested her head on my shoulder contentedly, the way she always does, completely unaware that the ground had just disappeared beneath her mother's feet. "We missed our connection," I said. To no one. To myself. To the version of my morning that no longer existed. Dana nodded slowly. "I know a coffee shop in the terminal," she said. "There are things I should have told you a long time ago." I followed her. Because what else do you do when a stranger at an airport knows your daughter's face and your last name and speaks to you like she's been carrying a secret about your life for years? You follow her, and you pray that whatever she is about to tell you doesn't destroy everything you thought was real. The coffee shop was called Sunrise Cafe. Gate 22. Corner spot. The kind of airport place that tries to feel warm and doesn't quite manage it. Dana chose a table in the back, away from the foot traffic, away from the noise. Like she had done this before, chosen a quiet corner to deliver something that would change someone's life. Lily sat in my lap. She had already moved on the way 4-year-olds move on, coloring in the small notebook I kept in my bag for exactly these moments. Completely unbothered. Completely certain that everything was fine. I held her a little tighter than usual and watched Dana settle into the chair across from us and set her bag carefully on the floor. "How do you know my daughter?" I asked. No coffee. No small talk. No warm-up. Just that question. Dana folded her hands on the table. "How much did your husband tell you?" she said carefully. "About the year before you met him?" "My husband. Marcus. Tall. Quiet. The kind of man who fixes things without being asked and remembers how you take your coffee and has never once in 7 years of marriage raised his voice at me. The kind of man you build a life around because he feels like the safest place you've ever been." "He told me everything," I said. The automatic answer. The one you give before you realize you're giving it. Dana looked at me with that expression again. The one that wasn't guilt and wasn't surprise. "Did he tell you about Rebecca?" she asked. I went still. "Who is Rebecca?" Dana reached into her bag, pulled out a photograph and placed it on the table between us. Face down first, like she was giving me one last moment before everything changed. Then she turned it over. "My husband. 3 years before I met him." My hands went cold. "Who is this?" I whispered. "Rebecca Hale," Dana said. "She was Marcus's girlfriend for 4 years. They were engaged when she got pregnant." She paused. "That baby is Lily." The coffee shop kept moving around me, cups clattering. A flight announcement overhead. Someone laughing 2 tables over. The completely ordinary evidence of a world that had no idea what was happening at this corner table. "That's not possible," I said. My voice was very quiet. "Lily is mine. I was there. I gave birth to her. I have her birth certificate." "I know," Dana said gently. "I know you did." She reached into her bag again. Another photograph. This one Lily. Maybe 2 years old. Birthday cake. Yellow balloons. In a kitchen I had never seen. With people I had never met. And Dana, sitting at the head of the table. "I am Rebecca's sister," Dana said. "I am Lily's aunt." First twist. Lily had a life before me. Not a past life. Not a metaphor. An actual life. An actual family. An actual aunt who knew her face from across a crowded airport terminal. An actual father who had somehow brought his daughter from that life into this one. Without telling me a single word. "Marcus," I said. "Just his name. Nothing else." Dana nodded. "Rebecca died," she said. 18 months after Lily was born. A blood clot. Very sudden. She was 29 years old. She looked down briefly. "After Rebecca died, Marcus had Lily alone for about 8 months. Then he met you." I thought about the timeline. Marcus and I met at a friend's dinner party. He had seemed, I remembered thinking this, like a man who had recently survived something. Something he didn't talk about. Something that had made him very careful with everything he touched. I had found that quality in him beautiful. I had not understood what it meant. "He told me Lily's mother wasn't in the picture," I said. The words tasted wrong in my mouth. "He said it was complicated. That she had left when Lily was a baby." Dana's jaw tightened. "Rebecca did not leave," she said. "Rebecca died." 2 very different sentences. One makes a mother absent by choice. One makes her absent by tragedy. Marcus had chosen the first. Every single day for 3 years, he had chosen the first. "Why are you here?" I asked. "Why now? Why the airport?" Dana wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "I've been trying to find a way to reach you for 2 years," she said. Marcus cut off all contact with Rebecca's family after the funeral. He moved cities. Changed numbers. She looked at Lily, who was still coloring, still completely unbothered. "I've been looking for my niece for 2 years," Dana said quietly. "I saw you checking in at the Portland airport 3 days ago." I recognized Lily from the photos Rebecca took before she died. She had followed us. From Portland. A 2-hour flight. Because she hadn't seen this child, her sister's child, in 2 years. I looked down at Lily. At the birthmark behind her left ear. The crescent moon. I had always thought it was just something she was born with. Something that was just hers. Did Rebecca have a birthmark? I asked. Dana looked at me. Behind her left ear, she said softly. Same place. Same shape. She paused. Rebecca used to say it meant Lily was made from her. I held my daughter tighter. Not because I was afraid Dana would take her. Because I suddenly understood that the child in my arms had been carrying a history I knew nothing about. A mother who loved her. A family who missed her. A father who had buried all of it and handed me a version of our life with the hardest parts removed. What else don't I know? I asked. Dana looked at me steadily. That depends, she said. On how much you want to know. I thought about Marcus at home right now. Probably making Lily's favorite Saturday breakfast even though it was Tuesday. Probably listening to the radio in the kitchen the way he always did. Completely unaware that his carefully constructed version of our life had just come apart at gate 14. Tell me everything, I said. Open book part 3. Everything. Dana talked for 40 minutes. I didn't interrupt once. I just sat there with Lily in my lap and my coffee going cold and my entire marriage rearranging itself into something I didn't recognize. Rebecca Hale had been 24 when she met Marcus. A photographer. Quiet. Creative. The kind of person who noticed things other people walked past. They fell in love fast. The way some people do when they recognize something in each other that they can't name but can't ignore. By year 2 they were engaged. By year 3, Lily. She was so happy when she found out she was pregnant, Dana said. Her voice stayed steady, but her hands tightened around her cup. She called me from the clinic parking lot. She was laughing and crying at the same time. She paused. That's the last time I heard her laugh like that. The pregnancy was hard. Rebecca developed complications in the 3rd trimester. She delivered early. 5 weeks. Lily spent 11 days in the NICU. 11 days of machines and monitors and parents who hadn't slept and prayers whispered into a room that smelled like antiseptic and fear. Marcus was there every day, Dana said. Every single day. I'll give him that. The way she said it told me she didn't give him much else. Rebecca came home with Lily. Seemed to recover. 6 weeks of slow, careful, hopeful recovery. Then one morning she didn't wake up. A blood clot. Sudden. Completely, without warning. She was 29 years old. Lily was 18 months. I looked down at my daughter. 18 months old when her mother died. Too young to remember. Old enough to have been held by her. Fed by her. Sung to by her. Old enough for something to have been planted that neither of us could name. After the funeral, Dana continued, Marcus shut down completely. Wouldn't return calls. Missed the reading of Rebecca's will. She stopped. Rebecca left something for Lily, she said carefully. Letters. Photographs. A journal she kept during the pregnancy. Things she wanted Lily to have when she was older. Marcus has them, Dana said. He took them from the house before we could. Before anyone could. She stopped herself. Steadied. We haven't been able to reach him since. I thought about her house. The spare room Marcus used as a home office. The filing cabinet he kept locked. The one time I'd asked about it, and he had said, gently, without hesitation, just old paperwork. Nothing important. Hidden escalation. The locked filing cabinet. 3 years of marriage. I had never thought to question it. There's something else, Dana said. Her voice shifted slightly. The way voices shift when they're approaching the thing they came to say. 2 months ago, I hired someone to help me find Lily, she said. A private investigator. She reached into her bag one final time. Placed a folded document on the table. Didn't open it. Just rested her hand on top of it. He found something, she said. About Marcus. About the 8 months between Rebecca's death and when he met you. I looked at the document. Then at Dana. Show me, I said. She opened it. It was a legal document. A petition. Filed 8 months after Rebecca's death. 1 month before Marcus and I met at that dinner party. A petition to have Lily placed in state custody. Filed by Marcus. About his own daughter. Second twist. Marcus hadn't just hidden Rebecca's death from me. He hadn't just cut off her family. He had tried to give Lily away. 8 months after losing Rebecca, broken, alone, drowning in grief he didn't know how to carry, he had walked into a courthouse and filed paperwork to surrender his own child. The petition was withdrawn. 2 weeks after it was filed. Before any action was taken. He had changed his mind. But he had filed it. And then he had met me. And then everything had moved very fast. I sat with that for a long moment, trying to hold 2 versions of Marcus at the same time. The man who had tried to give his daughter away. And the man who had changed his mind.
He withdrew it, I said.
Yes, Dana said. He kept her. Yes. I looked at Lily, still coloring. Yellow crayon now. Her favorite color. Completely unaware that she had almost grown up in an entirely different life. That her father had stood at the edge of the worst decision of his life and stepped back. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Because you deserve to know who you married, Dana said. And because Lily deserves to know who her mother was. She looked at me directly. Rebecca was not a complicated chapter Marcus gets to close whenever he wants. She was a person. She was Lily's mother. And she left things behind for her daughter that Lily has a right to have. I couldn't argue with that. Even sitting there with my world dismantled around me, I couldn't argue with that. What do you want? I asked. Access, Dana said simply. Not custody. Not interference. Just to be her aunt. To give her what Rebecca left for her when she's ready.
She paused.
And I want you to open that filing cabinet. I picked up my phone. Looked at Marcus's name on the screen. 7 years. 2,055 days of a marriage I had believed in completely. I put the phone face down on the table. Not yet. I needed to understand the full shape of what I was carrying before I decided how to carry it. Was he a good father? I asked. After he withdrew the petition. Before me. Dana was quiet for a moment. He was a devastated father, she said finally. Devastated and trying. Which I think is the most honest answer I can give you. Lily looked up from her coloring. Held up the page toward Dana. A yellow sun. Enormous. Taking up most of the paper. I made this for you, Lily said. Simply.
Cheerfully.
Like it was the most natural thing in the world. Dana's composure cracked for the first time. Just slightly. Just around the eyes. She took the drawing with both hands. Thank you, baby, she said softly. I watched my daughter smile at her aunt. An aunt she somehow recognized in a crowded airport. An aunt who had been erased from her life by a man who loved her and was broken and had made decisions I didn't have words for yet. And I understood that the conversation I was about to have with Marcus was going to change us. One way or another.
Permanently.
I picked up my phone. Turned it face up.
Dialed.
He answered on the second ring. Hey, how is the flight? Is Lily, Marcus, I said. Something in my voice stopped him. We need to talk, I said. And I need you to tell me the truth. A pause. Long enough to tell me he already knew. That somewhere in the back of his mind, he had always known this call was coming. Marcus was sitting at the kitchen table when we got home, not cooking. Not on his phone. Just sitting. The way people sit when they've been waiting for something they've dreaded for a very long time. Lily ran to him immediately. Daddy, I drew a son for a lady at the airport, and she cried a little bit. He caught her, held her, closed his eyes over her shoulder for exactly 2 seconds, then looked at me. I had rehearsed what I would say on the drive home. Clean sentences. Organized questions. The controlled version of a conversation that deserved control. But standing in my own kitchen looking at my husband's face, every rehearsed word left me. Go put your backpack away, baby, I told Lily. She disappeared down the hallway. The kitchen went very quiet. Her name was Dana, I said. Marcus set both hands flat on the table. I know who Dana is, he said. Then you know what she told me. He nodded once, the single nod of a man who has been carrying something so heavy for so long that being relieved of it feels indistinguishable from being crushed by it. Rebecca didn't leave, I said. No, he said. She didn't. She died. Yes. One word answers, the language of a person who has run out of ways to protect themselves and is just letting the truth land now wherever it needs to land. Why did you tell me she left? I asked. He looked at the table. Because I didn't know how to say she died, he said quietly. Every time I tried, the words wouldn't come. And then enough time passed that not saying it became its own decision. He looked up. And then I met you.
And you were so certain about us.
About Lily. About everything. And I was so tired of living inside the truth. I understood that I didn't want to, but I did. The filing cabinet, I said. Something moved across his face. The one in your office, I said. Dana told me about Rebecca's letters. The journal. The things she left for Lily. Marcus stood up slowly, walked down the hallway that I followed. The home office was small.
Neat.
A desk, a bookshelf, the gray filing cabinet in the corner that I had walked past approximately 800 times in 3 years of marriage. He took a key from his desk drawer, unlocked it, opened the bottom drawer. Inside, a shoebox, old, worn at the corners. the lid held down with a rubber band, and beside it, a manila envelope with Lily's name written on it in handwriting I didn't recognize, Rebecca's handwriting. Marcus lifted the shoebox out, set it on the desk, didn't open it, just stood there with his hand resting on the lid. I opened it once, he said. The night I filed the petition. He stopped. I sat on the floor of the old apartment with this box, and I read every letter and looked at every photograph, and I understood that I was the wrong person to be raising her. His voice was completely flat, the flatness of someone describing a memory they have never spoken out loud. So you filed the petition, I said. Yes. And then you withdrew it. 2 weeks later. He looked at the box. I withdrew it because I opened the box again, and there was a letter Rebecca had written to me. He paused. Not to Lily. To me. Final revelation. He lifted the lid, reached beneath the photographs and the folded letters, pulled out a single envelope, handed it to me on the front, in that same handwriting, for Marcus. When it gets too hard. She knew, I said. She had complications during the pregnancy, he said. She knew there was a possibility she might not. She prepared things. Just in case. He sat down on the edge of the desk. The letter told me that if I was reading it she was already gone, and that she knew I would want to run. She said. He stopped, steadied himself. She said that Lily wasn't a reminder of what he'd lost. She was proof that it had been real. The room was very quiet. I looked at the envelope in my hands, to Rebecca's handwriting, a woman I had never met who had loved my husband before I did, who had given him a daughter I had raised for 3 years as my own, who had written a letter from beyond her own death to pull him back from the worst decision he almost made. She saved her, I said. Yes, Marcus said. Rebecca saved Lily. I set the envelope back in the box carefully, the way you handle something that belongs to history. I need to ask you something, I said. And I need you to answer it honestly. Not the protected version. Not the version where you decide what I can handle. He looked at me. Did you marry me because you loved me? I said. Or because you needed someone to help you raise her? The question sat between us. Long enough that I started to understand that the answer was complicated. Long enough to understand that complicated wasn't the same as wrong. Both, he said finally. At first, both. I won't lie to you about that. He looked at me directly. But somewhere in the first year, it stopped being both. And it became just you. Just us. He paused. I know that's not enough to fix what I hid from you, but it's the truth. I believed him, that I didn't know yet if believing him was enough. Lily appeared in the doorway, sock feet, hair loose, holding her yellow crayon like a small torch. She looked at the box on the desk with the open curiosity of a child who senses importance without understanding it. What's that? She asked. Marcus and I looked at each other, one of those looks that contains an entire conversation, an entire decision. I crossed the room, knelt down in front of my daughter, took both her hands in mine. It's something very special, I said. From someone who loved you very much before I did. Lily considered this with the gravity only 4-year-olds can bring to something they don't fully understand. Like a grandma? She asked. My throat tightened. Something like that, I said. That evening I called Dana, told her she could come to the house on Saturday, that Lily would be there, that we would figure out the rest as we went. She was quiet for a moment on the other end, then she said, Rebecca would have liked you. I didn't know what to do with that I still don't. That night after Lily was asleep I sat on the back porch alone, thinking about the shape of my life, how it looked from the outside, complete, ordinary, safe, how it looked from the inside, built on a foundation that had been missing pieces I hadn't known to look for. Marcus came outside after a while, sat beside me. We didn't speak for a long time, just sat in the dark the way people sit when they are trying to find their way back to each other across a distance that wasn't there this morning. I'm not leaving, I said finally. He exhaled. But we're going to do this differently, I said. All of it. No more locked drawers. No more protected versions. No more, he agreed. And Lily gets the letters, I said. When she's ready. All of it. Rebecca's photographs. The journal. Everything Dana has. Yes, he said. She deserves to know where she came from, I said. Both places. He reached over and put his hand over mine and I let him, not because everything was resolved, not because the locked cabinet and the hidden years and the petition he had almost filed didn't sit heavy in the space between us, but because I had watched my daughter hand a drawing to a stranger in an airport and somehow, in the uncomplicated wisdom of a 4-year-old, get it exactly right. Some connections don't need explanation. Some love just knows. Maybe that's what Rebecca understood when she wrote that letter. That love doesn't end when the person does it just finds new places to live. The question I keep asking myself isn't whether I can forgive Marcus for what he hid. It's whether the life we built on an incomplete truth is still real. And I think, painfully, slowly, imperfectly, the answer is yes. But I'm still deciding. And I think that's allowed. If the person you loved most had hidden something this significant to protect you, could you forgive the lie? Or would the truth change everything you thought was real?